Hello, everybody. It's the one and only Pacific talking from a storage area. Isn't this fun? Somebody wrote me and said, I've noticed that bag of sugar up there hasn't moved. Neither has much of anything else. This is not my stuff. Okay, viewers, I got a confession to make. It's going to shock you all. Driving my bus the other day, and the radio station that plays the same 10 songs every hour on the hour, the same old stuff that the producers think is stuff that we've got to hear. Sheesh. In my YouTube, I listen to international music globally that is just way far superior to anything that American radio stations are playing. But I play music for the kids because it seems to have somewhat of an effect on them. People can say, well, yeah, but a lot of what you're playing. So I'm driving some high schoolers the other day from the college campus to their high school campus, and this song comes on. I'm like, wow, and I can't hear the words. I'm like, the music is great. I like it. Now, when we talk about Pacific here, I'm a complicated individual because when I hit my 40s, when I was married, I was so against certain things. I'll be honest with you. There were some things that I could not stand about African American culture. I heard a lot of this rap music and that boom, boom, and I'm like, you know what? That is ghetto trash hola. But when I hit my 40s, I hit a midlife crisis. When I got divorced, then when I chased a girl in Hong Kong and everything changed in me, and all of a sudden I realized I am passionate and I've kept it dead for 14 years in a lifeless marriage, it suddenly hit me. My interests started to change. It's the best way I can describe it. It's like I was operating on the Titanic technology, sitting in there with Morse code, landline phone. The computer for me was so foreign. And it never dawned on me that you just moved up to a even more beautiful old world ocean liner that's been outfitted with complete modern technology within and yet still maintains that old, grandiose, luxurious look. Okay, I've just given myself away. If I was filthy rich and had nothing better to do with the money after helping all of the people in the world that needed it, which would exhaust all my resources anyway, Pacific would love to have an ocean liner that looks like something straight out of the old era. But when you step aboard, the only old era is the old rich woodwork and the grandeur and the opulence. But when you step into the halls of this fine ship, you have surround sound stereo going through the richest, most gut grabbing sound that you're just like, wow, this is cool. You go up to the bridge and everything's state of the art, but I would tell everybody I still want a ship's wheel. Everything can be computer controlled, but this ship is still going to be steered by a man. Okay, I'm getting way off on a rabbit trail, but it's fun. Thank you, Whisker Child, for telling me how to get into my inbox. Good grief, I've got so many comments in there. I'm buried. I just started to answer a plethora of them. Venus Star, I have to say, you write one heck of an email, and shoot, if I could fall in love with a woman just on her writing alone, Venus Star, you would be my wife. Hands down. Or at least date you and get to know you. And the men that wrote me, sharing me personal stories, I have asked one of my viewers who shared me a lengthy story about his life. And I've asked him for permission to read the email without giving that person's ID. I said, what you have written deserves the justice of a video because it's further proof of what we men are dealing with a female society. Venus Star wrote me, and I did not get permission to share the body of her email, but she sees what is going on. I heard this song on the bus, and I liked the music. Don't take this wrong, viewers, but there's a little pimpy style in me as well as my music tastes have changed and stuff. There is some music that befits a mood and it befits the culture we're living in. And though I don't like the decadence and the crapola that we're seeing, Beyonce has a song called Drunken Love. Just now I read the lyrics and I love the music. The music is not what I would call raw talent. It's all digitalized and everything else, but it's just got a feel to it that it's got that good black feel to it that that just that black culture feel in a good way and some of that. And I want to say something. Black's contribution to the music scene cannot be underestimated, cannot be ignored. Though I don't like the offensive rap styles that are out there, there is a certain style to some of the black stuff that I do like. I can't listen to some of the black female vocalists that it's like that stuff gets on my nerves after a while. But there's a certain amount of soul that is so much lacking in so much music today. And I'm going to say something about black women that has turned me on. They bring the passion into something that would otherwise be lifeless. That being said, the music, for whatever it's worth, I like the music. I like the style. It's kind of music that just, yeah, makes me think of driving a big, giant four-door car that's all pimped out through the inner city and that music playing. And people go, Pacific, are you into that? Bear with me. I live in this culture. I don't want to be an inner city ghetto boy. I don't want to be a pimpy Pacific pimpy to ride. It's not what I'm in. I'm into pickup trucks. I will live and die driving a pickup truck. But it's so funny when I see people in their pickup trucks going down the road and how American males today, they think because they're behind the wheel of an SUV or a Dodge diesel doofus dually pickup. I went to the stock show the other day and I saw a four-door Dodge pickup truck, the Longhorn edition, leather interior, $66,000. The new Chevy Camaro, 2014, $32,000. It's like $66,000. If I had that much on top of what I have in the bank, I would exit. I'd probably go to Barbados and find Venus Star, but I know she's not there. But I'd say, wherever you are, let's go together because I love the island life. Meaning the palm trees in the ocean, not all the pot smoking and stuff. Jamaica. People like to go to Jamaica, and it's like, I didn't realize this until somebody was talking to me about Bob Marley, and I like Bob Marley. Reggae. He's cool. But I didn't realize he was such a pot culture. Totally pot culture. And then it dawned on me, well, duh, you see the Bob Marley shirt with a big pot leaf on it. Beyonce's song Drunken Love, the music is interesting. It has a mood and a feel all its own, but then you read the lyrics. She's drinking, she's smoking cigars, making love in a car, and all this stuff, and you read this, and there's profanity in it. I'll warn you, viewers, if you're going to play this for your children, you might want to consider it. I didn't hear all that when I heard it on the bus radio. And I thought, this is the stuff that makes up the average American female today. Drinking, drinking, drinking. Drunken love. Ladies have run so far away from what they're supposed to be. They have rebelled it at such deep levels. And you read the lyrics to Beyonce's song, her singing is good. She's got a voice, can't deny it. But there's no quality in what she's expressing in the lyrics. There's no quality there. There's nothing lady about it. It's trash culture through and through. What is sad in our country is that I don't think even Beyonce knows what love is. Drunken love. I was hoping it was I was drunk on love. No, it's about her cognac and her alcohol, and you read it for yourself. I posted the link that gives the lyrics. The thing that's sad, people, is that this is the stuff that's playing. This is the stuff that is piped into our ears as a society. This week, everybody at work is all pumped up, united in orange. Go Broncos. Tomorrow is the game to determine whether we make it or not. I don't know who's going to win. I hope our team does, but New England's a good team. New England plays good ball, and if our defense does not go start to finish hard like a bulldozer, we will lose that game. That's all there is to it. But if we win, we're Super Bowl bound. But I watched the women yesterday, and I want to share with my viewers, black and white, Asian and Mexican. Yesterday, we had like 30 plus buses pick up Denver schools and take them to a high school for the Martin Luther King celebration. It's a yearly event. The kids go to the schools and go to the one school, and they have a big rally, talk about Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. They have actors up there that talk like he did and stuff like that. And I want to say something that I think it's time for Pacific to say. You listen to the words of that speech, it was good stuff. Martin Luther was not all wrong. And as I stood out there, a bunch of us drivers, two terminals, one on the northeast side of town and one on the west side of town. And there's always a bit of a us versus them mentality. Mostly African American work at the one on the northeast side, and then the one on the west side is Hispanic and white people and some blacks and a couple of Asians. And there's a woman that I work with. She's a trainer. She's a very nice lady. Big black woman, built like a brick outhouse. She wears a little hat with little bear ears on it. She is big and wide. And I found out how strong she was the other day. When I first met her, I said, you know what? I hope you're not offended, but I said, have you ever seen that video sitting on the toilet? She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, yes. She goes, my relatives thought I made that video. Because she's got those eyes and that big head. Not as big as that woman on the sitting on a toilet video, but she is built. And I said, you've got the look. If you just put a bandana around your head, you look like the woman who did it. And she goes, Mikey, oh, I hate that. I have never been able to live that down. My family still thinks I posted that. And I said, well, I know it isn't you. But I said, so every time I see her, I look at her and I go, sitting on the... She goes, stop it, man, stop it. And she laughs. The other day I walked up to her and I said, you know what? I need a hug. She gave me a hug. By the way, everybody's rebelling the anti-hug policy at work, and I find it funny. So I thought, well, I'm going to join in. Everybody else is doing it. Nobody's getting in trouble. And the supervisor even came out and hugged somebody, and I said, you know what? They're talking about all the hate in this room. And I said, and they're going to get squawking about people hugging? Sheesh. So I walked right up to her, threw my arms around her. She threw her arms, and she picked me up off the floor. And it's like, oh my gosh, you just destroyed my manhood. A woman just picked me up off the floor. She goes, Mikey, you're small. And I said, girl, you're strong. She told me that she played football with the guys, and she came up behind somebody one day, grabbed them, sacked them, and the guy said, at first I thought, man, who just sacked me? And then I felt your bosom pushing into me and thought, that's a woman that just knocked me down. She's a funny lady. She's got a good personality. And I told her, I said, you remind me of somebody that walk off the stage, a Fat Albert. Hey. She's got that whole thing going on. And nice woman. So I walked up in the parking lot. We're all out of our buses. We all been, one of the supervisors came out and when there's a movement of buses like that, they always get supervisors out because sometimes I think they think that we can't do it, but they do that to avoid accidents. You got cars and people and so much chaos going on, and it makes sense. So they, slot us into different spots so that we can get out of that parking lot without having to wrestle with traffic and people. And we're all out there talking, blacks, whites, Mexicans. Bunch of people got on all their Bronco gear because we were told this week we could wear it all week because the air's electric right now. I walked over, excuse me, sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning today. I got a good night's sleep. Walked over to some of the black ladies from our other terminal and I said, watch this. And they smiled and I walked over to this woman and I said, hey, called her name. I said, why don't you show everybody how you give Whitey a hug? She goes and takes one arm, wraps it around me and lifts me off the ground and everybody laughed and started clapping. Pacific has a sense of humor. And even I realize there are women that are 5 times stronger than me. She's not a girl you'd want to mess with. She's got the heart of a teddy bear. And what hit me is I thought, isn't this what Martin Luther King really is all about? We're all intermingling with each other, running around giving each other hugs. A woman from Morocco came and said, Pacific, how are you? And threw her arms around me. Diversity is beautiful. I have a dream is beautiful. And we are not there yet in entirety. I'm no fool. We got racism alive and well, all sides of the ethnic fences, and it's sad. I like color, and I like diversity. It's sad that in American culture that people are being slotted into this camp and into that camp, and if you're black, there's a tendency to act and behave and talk a certain way, and if you're white, there's a tendency to act and behave a certain way and watch these TV shows and buy these kind of clothes and buy this kind of vehicle, and we limit ourselves. The bottom line is I had a little bit of a tearjerker moment that here we all are, we're all driving buses, we're all talking and hamming it up, and I've matured. When I was a kid, it's like, oh, there's a black person. Not in a prejudicial way, but noting difference. I don't think that anymore. Oh, there's that cool lady that's always fun. I'm not going to say the stupid little trite thing, I don't see color. That's gay. Of course we see color. They see color too. Who of us doesn't? But as I get older and as I'm more comfortable with the skin that I'm in, I'm comfortable with their skin too, and they know it, and there isn't this racial barrier between me and most of them, or them towards me. When an ebony woman can pick me up off the ground and is built like an outhouse, and everybody can get a laugh out of it, that's a plus. You go back in the days of Martin Luther King in Birmingham, Alabama, when a black girl walked into a white university and everybody started harassing her. That's messed up. I will say something, and I'm going to say something. America has screwed up with the black people. I'm not just saying that. It's a fact. Hosing them down in the streets, telling them to sit in the back of the bus, having all over the South signs you can still buy in today's antique store for colored people only. Public toilet, blacks only, whites only. What kind of an American society that we got to that point back then that we had such a glaring blight on our illustrious history? How did we allow that to happen? What's really funny is people, when they do the stuff they do, it isn't good. You look at communism and telling people you can't read the Bible and you can't go to church, and what's the first thing that happens? It goes underground. You create this stigma, whites versus blacks, and now I live in the days after Martin Luther King and the civil rights era, and I've been told over and over, well, blacks are this and blacks are that, and then I find myself irresistibly drawn to black women and their beauty, and I'm going, I didn't know a lot about them, but I sure want to get to know them now. It is sad that in America, a lot of black women have succumbed to a homogenization within their own camp. We talk like this and say y'all and, the ebonics, and it's like, how sad. Back to Beyonce's song. Beyonce's song Drunken Love is reflective of our American culture today. It is reflective of the average American woman today. Drinking, smoking cigars, pimping out with the guys and the car. All the ingredients are there of a shallow, trashy culture. Today's American woman does not market herself at all in a favorable light. They market themselves as not sensual, but sleazy, as intoxicated, as having vice and addiction, while condemning men for looking at porn. Listen to the words of that song, and why wouldn't a man look at porn when the women are singing porn? This is not an attack on Beyonce. Beyonce is a pretty woman. She's a good singer, but she's not a lady. She's incapable of being a lady. Women have done everything they can through the vehicle of feminism to shed their ladiness and put on man clothes and behave like savage males. You watch the old westerns and the old saloons. Shoot, some of those bar fights were funny. Bar stools and bottles and crap flying through the air and people spinning around and stuff flying out the windows. The door opens and some guy goes flying through the air and you're like, bar fight. We laugh at that. The old saloons were where men go to be stupid. Today, they're still saloons, but they're loaded with women being stupid. When guys tell me, oh, I got tired of going to the bars because I couldn't find a good date. You're not going to find a good date in a bar. You're going to get drunken slut 9 times out of 10. It's sad in our society. When you go to church on Sunday as a Christian and you feel like you've just entered a funeral home where there's no pulse, or the only pulse is people listening to cheesy Christian rock music that sucks. I'd like to see Christians get a hold of Beyonce's song Drunken Love and put praise music to that and bring that into the church. That'd be a hit. I'm being sarcastic. And that's what Christians do. Well, we like our music. Let's bring this over and Jesus-fy it. Yeah, let's get that pimped out style music and put God to it. Okay. What I'm trying to say is when we talk about passion, oh my gosh, it's missing. Women aren't passionate in our culture. They're getting drunk. And you go out into our secular society, America, you watch the commercials. I want you viewers this week when you're watching television to pay attention to the commercials. I don't care if it's for apple strudels or toaster strudels or Pop-Tarts. Look at the level of flaky fakeness to these commercials. Listen to the bimbo voices of females in these commercials. And what is the prevailing dominant message? Superficial, light, flaky, la 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 la. But what are people doing? They're eating the Pop-Tarts, but they're listening to Beyonce. There was a big flap made over Facebook mom. Remember her? I think her name was Maria, but I'm not sure. The one posing with her kids in the workout attire, showing how hot looking she was. I thought it's in poor taste. People wrote me and said, come on, Pacific, she's toned, she's... I understand that. And don't get me wrong, because I'm going to say something about a lot of white American moms. A lot of men are having trouble in marriages too, because a lot of moms have kids, and when moms have kids, they just let themselves go down the toilet. Well, no wonder your husband's struggling with porn, lady. You just sat down and went... I'm going to be honest, folks. Don't crucify me for this. When I was married for 14 years, and I already told you the story, my wife insisted that I come home because she wanted to go into mid-level management and made more money than I did. I bucked it for 7 months. Then the company I worked for, they lost one of the truck franchises because the boss bought way too many of the trucks and he wasn't selling them. And they were the company that does the selling of the trucks was saying, hey, we need to be paid for all these trucks. Company couldn't do it, so they had to send them off and auction every one of those out. Some of those trucks sat there for over a year. Needless to say, they took away our health plans and all this other stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe that's what God wants me to do. I was at home all day with my boy. You guys all laugh at my videos and you like what I say. Imagine me being home all day with a kid. Nap time for 2 hours in the day, feed him this, that. That's not easy life. I am a ball of compacted nuclear energy and I'm stuck in the house all day. But even then I was outgoing. I'd take him over to the library and have story reading time every Tuesday and Thursday. Other moms met me. Hey, would you like to be part of a Lakewood moms group? Sure. Because they're thinking these kids can do stuff and I can talk with other adults. They said we just voted to allow stay-at-home dads. Only one other stay-at-home dad came and he was not talkative and he wasn't a hit and he showed up once and was out. I was the only one that stayed. We did trips up to Lookout Mountain, to the zoo, Dinosaur Ridge, the Science Museum, and then we'd all go to McDonald's. Us adults would talk, the kids would play. It was good. But I looked at a lot of these women. There were some that were slender and attractive. The one that I became good friends with took care of herself. She laid the tile in her own house, her and her husband and her kid. They were all tied together. And I became friends with their family. But one of the ladies came one day, and I just, how do I say this? I noticed her hygiene was going down after she had birth. She had tons of hair under her arms. She was a beautiful woman. Her skin started sagging, everything started going, and I'm going to say this, viewers and ladies, don't be too hard on me, because I hear women say all the time they're tired of men that let their guts go and don't shave and smell like BO and sit around in their dirty pants and clothes all day. Well, I took one look at this woman. I go, there's no way I could get in the mood for any kind of night of romance with that. You couple that reality with the fact you turn on American television and what do you see dancing and parading around on every commercial and every TV show? Tight, firm-bodied, big-breasted American wife, female. So guy sits at home. This is my wife. This is the woman on TV. This is my wife. This is the woman on TV. And women are quick to say, well, you need to love and honor your wife and honor your vows and not be such pigs. I know a lot of women out there that have told me, I don't even like having sex with my husband. He's a pig. He's gross. He comes home dirty, sweaty, and nasty. I don't want to make love with that. I agree with you, lady. But why is it wrong for a man to say, she's got 4 inches of hair under her arms, her skin's starting to sag, her boobs have dropped down in the basement, and you're like, yuck. Why is that going to be a turn on to me? It is very hard in our society as it exists today to find the real meaning of love. I'm going to put a sandwich board out for one of my viewers. Name withheld. He is trying to show the love of Christ to his wife, who's been anything but lovely. I'm amazed at his fortitude. He says, I'm just going to love her with the love of Christ and see what God does. Based on what has been shared with me, I would have told her, you know what? Take your stuff and out. Playing around on dating sites, cussing and yelling at me, gaining weight, not being very nice. You know what? Going off with this, and they haven't always had an easy marriage to begin with. I know what love is only in this context, viewers, because I know what it isn't. I don't believe that I have experienced in my life on these shores, for the most part, real love. I had a friend overseas call me, one that I don't talk about much. She's my age. The one that I call Tiger and she calls me Lion. She was in her bed. She called me when I was getting ready for work. I said, I'm going to have to call you in a couple of hours because I got to go. When I was at the field trip parked, people were off the bus, and I had time to call her. I called her and ended up waking her up. It was 12:30 at night in Hong Kong. And she said, my gal, I miss you. And it hurts me. I dated her. And you know, for her, she's met men. But out of all of them, I'm the only one that registered a pulse with her. And I said, I miss you too. The Pacific struggles. Reality is, I can't think about going and chasing somebody over there. And even though I dated her and I liked her, there were some things that I saw that would be very tough in a marriage. And I'm not going to tear her down because she's a good woman. You come back over here and people got their stupid little requirements, and Venus, you pointed out something and I appreciate it. I have gotten more kudos and compliments on my Wine, Women, and Song video. And I am going to quote something she said. You would think that, she goes, I laughed when you said in one of your videos how you were laughing and talking about all your faults and you should post those on a date site. She goes, actually, you think that women would be refreshed to see that a guy is so honest. And America does not encourage honesty, does it? Because the minute you show yourself honest and be vulnerable, I think of what my cousin said years ago regarding my own mother. Pacific, you must never make yourself vulnerable to wolves. I was talking about the problems I have with my mother and saying I always try to be so honest and I always try to be so, transparent with her. And I had to learn a long time ago, every time you do that with people that are sharks, it's like laying down and exposing your belly to ravenous wolves to come and just eat your guts out. That is the truth. My cousin is a very wise man, by the way. He lives with a wife who is anything but easy to deal with. She's from Lima, Latina, and an attitude that doesn't quit at the door. When I look at the fact, and I have viewers writing me all the time, and viewers, listen to me, if I don't get back to your comments in my inbox, I just found out about how to get in there, and I will tell you, and I got to be careful, I hate to even put a condition on anybody telling me anything. If you send a link to another video, please realize I may not ever watch it simply because I cannot. I'm getting so much of that, and some of these are long and lengthy, and it's like, ugh. People go, well, your videos are lengthy. I realize that, but I'm the one making them. When I go back and try to respond to all these emails, and I try to, in the inbox, I'm overwhelmed. So I'm trying to be fair to my viewers. And even this morning, what, you're not writing me anymore? It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know my inbox. Google moved it out of the stuff below community and this and that, and they moved it somewhere else. And I hate that about Google. They're always updating and changing things, and we don't get any notice as to, hey, where'd my inbox go? Oh, you got to click on community dashboard, community, and go through it that way. Okay. American culture does not take honesty and make it um, inspiring to be honest. The average American male in the workplace is taught to be staid, stoic, and professional and fake. American women are taught to guard their hearts and to not let that drawbridge down at all, even in the church. And what is sad is we've raised an entire generation of superficial, flaky people that want to just stand around and talk about the weather or the Broncos, but don't get too close to what's in here. And even Christian women in this country, when they find out about your faults, then they have the power to say, no, you've sinned too many times, you're gone. Just in the last 2 weeks, I realized once again that a lot of women that call themselves Christians may not have sinned sexually, may not have done some of the things that myself or my viewers have done, but when they write emails and they say things in such a way that clearly the self-righteous alarms go off on my dashboard, and you just go, this person really thinks they're tight with Jesus. You cannot communicate to one who's blinded by ego. You cannot communicate to one who's very impressed with themselves. You cannot do it. Pacific is not impressed with himself, though there are times when I have an attitude. I admitted that this week to several of my coworkers. I said, I have been walking through the break room with a bit of an attitude because I've had it up to here with the stuff. Somebody said, yeah, I noticed. I said, wow, Pacific's not saying hi to people like he used to. But not one of them condemned me for it. They said, this place really does get to you after a while. Do I have an attitude? Sometimes I do. Who of us doesn't? When you're being chumped on by a society, when a woman can write you saying how close to Jesus and how much better she is in her spiritual walk and how much more superior, better this, better that, better. Why wouldn't I get annoyed at that? In my videos, about the only thing I've bragged about is, in contrast to males that think they're tough, is I say, bring them with me for a day in the yard and we'll see who the tough one is. A lot of men are a lot of talk. But I don't think I'm a better writer. I don't think I'm a super saint any more than anybody else. What I do talk about is biblical inerrancy, and I'm shocked. Biblical, and not inerrancy, biblical illiteracy in this country. How many Christians who've been to church all their lives and know very little about the Bible? And even though they may not have committed the big sexual sins, they're unfriendly, they're unkind, they're stuck up, and they're narcissistic. And you go, well, you were born in a Christian environment, you were in a Christian home. How did this happen? Those of us who get saved later in life have made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of church-raised Christians tend to look at those of us who got saved later and go, oh, he was bad. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now can see. People who are born and raised in Christian homes don't appreciate grace. They also tend to lack passion because they become religious do-gooders, good at doing this, doing that, with no passion and no heart, because in American Christian culture, we're taught that, well, you may not want to do it, but we need to just do our daily dose of rote and liturgicals, but are they having an effect on American society for the better and for the glory of God? Can I grab a traffic cone and say, no? Why do you think churches in America are failing? Why do you think big box churches are succeeding? Because big box churches are trying to come after a pseudo passion by using the vehicle of entertainment and rock music to get everybody all bounced up. But it lacks foundation and it lacks substance. I don't think most Americans know what heart and soul is anymore. And a lot of white people do not understand black women and black men because a lot of white people don't have heart and soul. They're good at dotting their I's and crossing their T's in their own head. But as I said about our culture, it is rare to find a man or a woman in Christ or outside of the Christian faith who will hold a mirror up to him or herself and say, whoa, I got a bad case of acne and I better do something to start clearing it up. Or my heart's pretty ugly. What has become in American society is male against female. Male says something, the woman reacts and blasts the male, and back and forth it goes. Instead of a woman or a man saying, is there any validity to what this person is saying? I've already proven to my viewers I can take constructive criticism. Van Sloot nailed me between the eyes on revealing somebody's email online. And he said, regardless of her actions, you shouldn't do this. Is Pacific arrogant? Sometimes I am. I live in a stupid world, and sometimes I go, all these people are making fun of me and my thick glasses, but at least I know how to drive and be conscientious and courteous, and I got a lot of stuff that I got to deal with every day that these fools have no idea of. Yeah, sometimes there's a danger to me just going, what a bunch of boneheads. But do I think I'm the sum total of all knowledge, wisdom, and information? No. I run a channel that's real. And the man who corrected me about reading somebody's email said, the reason I like your channel is because of your heart. I do listen to criticism when it's handled rightly. But if that means that women are going to get on here and tell me that we men are all wrong, of course I'm not going to listen to that. It's just more proof that, once again, denial. And that's not a river in Egypt, by the way. There are women that write me all the time, and they agree with what I'm saying. My viewers are not godless YouTube people. YouTube has become a forum that we have yet to really tap into. Everybody's posting all this crap out there. But people have, I can't say a live feed, but they have a feed of a man's life who's in the spotlight in the sense that he's transparent, that being Pacific, talking about lust and porn and sordid affairs and parental upbringing and getting frustrated in a society that is tough to live in. Hold on, I'm going to get the dog. In American culture, it does take guts to do what I do. And the reason I do what I do is because of the things that I've went through. It dawned on me, I have nothing left to lose. I'm in a society where no matter what I do, people are going to accept or reject me anyway. I've borne more than my share of rejection. I think, so what if a bunch of people in America tune into my channel and go, loser? Who cares? Who are they? I go back to that song that my Philippine friend, the one I just talked about, who called me yesterday. Nosi Alasi. In Tagalog, it means, who are they, or who are you? The woman who sung it obviously had her share of mockery and rejection, and she had to tell herself, when these people do this, you need to ask, who are they? Just like I did the video, people ask me, who are you? And I say, no, who are you? What gives anybody the right to comment or pontificate on anything? I would say one who's in the know, one who has experience, and one who is objective. I don't get on this channel because I've got everything together. I don't get on this channel because I'm a perfect example of security, got it togetherness, mental and emotional wellness. I get on this channel because there's millions of people globally, actually billions, actually everybody around the world that's got hurts and fears and insecurities and problems. And they may hide it with money and nice cars. They may hide it under a religious veneer in a church. This channel is reaching people because it's real. I can deal with a self-righteous woman who watches my channel and says, you are disturbed, you are mentally insane, on and on. Because I have testimony of an avalanche of people that don't think like she does. And they're not messed up. They're people that work. There's one from Barbados who wrote me an outstanding email this morning. People from California, women and men. And I read what they write. Their English is perfect, their punctuation is perfect, the capital's in the right place. If I was to be an English teacher and analyze it, they'd get an A. They're not self-righteous. They're Christians. I really like your video because you're so transparent about your struggles. So many Christians put on an act. Or because they think, I don't do these things, therefore I'm way better than you. No, you're not. You just exhibited pride. There are 6 things the Lord hates and 7 things that are detestable to him, it says in the Old Testament. And one of those is pride. In American culture today, that's not talked about very much in today's churches. Like I said, we tend to focus on the sins of men, the lust, the porn, the masturbating, the affairs, and on and on. We don't talk about the sins of women. Another proof that feminism is the Trojan horse that's blasted right into the church doors. Male bashing in all of its forms needs to stop. A preacher who's truly called by God needs to expose the sins in all the sexes, all the races, all the economic, socioeconomic barriers. We don't beat around the bushes and we don't tiptoe around the tulips. As a preacher, we speak the truth in love. We're supposed to. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a reverend, and nor will I ever be. I refuse to accept that position because I'm not qualified. But open my mouth and speak and be a teacher, I have the right given to me by God. God can shut me up and he can shut me down anytime he wants because he is God. He's given me voice. Other than clearing my throat and some of my imperfections, I speak because he is God. I like it when people say, God's going to hold you accountable for everything. I'm well aware of that. I already know that even as a Christian that I'll probably get a D minus on my report card for my good works. But I also know that a lot of Christians who are playing and pulling up on their suspenders, their shirt collars, they're not going to hear well done, thou good and faithful servant either, even though they were sexually pure all their life. But then I want to share with you, one of my viewers sent me a message this week saying people laugh at me because I'm in my 30s and I'm a virgin. I called him and I said, praise God. I wish I could say that, but I can't. Don't ever let anybody laugh. And if they laugh, just laugh and go, you go ahead and laugh. You can't get it back. I still have mine. I believe that God is going to bless and reward those that have exercised self-control and followed his word and lived in obedience to him. But I also believe God's going to judge the haughty, the self-righteous, and the proud Christians as well. I find it interesting that a lot of Christian women out there are quick to judge us and be very hard on us for our sins, and they still don't have a boyfriend. And they still haven't found the right one, and they never will. As they start to get older and their bodies become less than hot and firm, and that one little card and that one little string on their busted violin they're playing over and over again, they will start to lower their expectations, because then they'll realize, ooh, GQ man ain't going to be interested in me anymore. When I say I'm done with the idea of dating white women, I say that, and I mean that in here, but I also am aware of the fact that some white women could take me by surprise. So, am I a prison cell door that says no? I said I had a resolution this year. I was joking, because anytime you say, I resolve to do this, guess what happens? The forces of hell come against you, and guess what? You can't do it. The Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Based on what I've seen, I avoid white women like the plague. But that isn't to say one couldn't capture me. I still prefer ebony skin. So any of you black female listeners out there that have any interest in me, you need to let me know, and you need to pursue me with a vengeance, because you get priority. So do Asians. Updating you on the friend of mine. Came to me yesterday. Roommate announced to her, I'm moving out. I paid the rent the first. You gotta go. Friend sent me a text. Would you please help me? I came to work. She came out of the restroom, started to cry. I said, let's go outside. Nobody needs to see you upset. But everybody already had. And all day, when I got back yesterday after my routes, everybody says, what happened to so-and-so? What happened to so-and-so? She's in tears. And I said to her, how much is the rent for the apartment where you're at? She told me. I said, she has gone to other drivers. One driver said, you can stay at my house, but I can't give you a ride to work. And it's so far out that the bus schedule wouldn't work for her. And I'm struggling with this because I've got it good here. I do a lot of work, but I've got it good here. And she is in anguish over this. I asked her how much the rent was. I said, why don't you go to your landlord and talk to her and say your buddy's moving out. I say buddy sarcastically, and that you have a friend who's going to move in, and that the rent will be paid. And if she needs a credit check, she can check mine and call my references. So it may be that in a couple weeks, and can I be honest? I don't want to live down there. It's far. I park my truck on the street, which is a busy street, which means some idiot could hit it in the night along with all the other parked cars and leave the scene. Those things are things I have to think about. The apartment's decent. It's got a balcony, but it's a one bedroom. So one of us is going to be living in the living room. It's a decent place. But inside I feel a sense of fear. Oh, I got to pay rent again. Oh, and it's this much. And I said, yeah, well, just like you do now, trust God. And I can afford the rent. I'd rather not pay that much, but I can afford it. So there's a struggle. So today I've got to go get her and talk to her and see what the deal is. I still don't know where this is at. She went home last night, and due to circumstances, she could not talk. But what's happening at work is people are coming up to me and asking me about her, and apparently she's made it known to the people that the Civic's been encouraging her and helping her. Now, all of a sudden, a dynamic's taking place where, by the way, something happened yesterday that I need to share. I had gone on about a coworker of mine who's a Christian who's very self-righteous, who shows cleavage and everything else, very mean. She actually made a joke at me yesterday, not a offensive one, a crack, and I laughed. And she held the door open for me, and I said, thank you. And she goes, uh-huh. And I said, you have a good weekend. She goes, you too. I was like, what is happening to her? Why was she nice to me? So I'm like, is there a move of God going on, or is this all Bronco euphoria? Well, what is this? And some other people are coming up and asking about this friend. And I said, well, and she apparently broke down so bad she went to several people and they said, I got to find a place to live, and I'm panicking. And I said, I will probably end up renting again just to make sure she doesn't end up in the street. And as soon as that came out of my mouth, I thought, wow, we Americans, it's hard to sacrifice. But deep down inside, I said, if nobody else is going to help her out, then I've got to. I have a heart for the Philippines as it is. I can't let somebody who's been over here and has made some bad choices and she's calling to me for help. I can't just stand back and say, well, go well. I wish you warm and fed. So if you see me turn on my video and you turn on the video and the background's different, in a couple weeks, you'll know why. Beyonce's song is reflective of our culture. I'm a little bit, not as much as everybody else, but I'm a little bit caught up in the Broncos thing. But when I look at all the women wearing their blue and orange and shouting like men, go Broncos, I can be congenial and nice to them and get caught up in it. But it's sad that women have become the very opposite of God's intent for them. There's a part of me that likes a woman who doesn't hesitate to wear tight-fitting, good-looking jeans and a t-shirt and jump in the pickup and slide right next to me and be fun-loving and punch me in the arm and say, let's go drive through that mud hole. And yet, I don't want a woman who's like a man. Beyonce's song is disturbing because it is reflective of the culture of today's women, and women listen to that song and they eat it up. Hollywood and the media and today's divas in music have had a huge impact and effect on the way people think, act, and dress. That's why when I hear people defending their violent video games and their lust for violent movies, they can say whatever they want. Garbage in, garbage out. Advertisers know this. That's why they use beautiful, scantily clad women to market every product out there. It is effective. To say that you can play Car Theft San Andreas, the video game, and say, well, I'd never steal a car, is lame. Dietrich Bonhoeffer admitted to finding a certain amount of fascination with bull fighting and goring and all that. And I'm like, I read that and I'm disturbed. Bonhoeffer was a godly man, but in his young years, he was fascinated by the bullfight. I don't want to see that. I remember it was at the National Western Stock Show here in Denver years ago, and I watched a cowboy get up on a bull and try to ride it. And that bull threw him off. He landed on the ground. That bull came down and started to put that horn right towards his gut. He scurried out of the way. And I thought, I'm out of here. I don't even want to see that. It bothers me that people don't have that sensitive conscience on that stuff that I do. It bothers me that people can just sit there and munch their popcorn while heads are getting blown off and swords are cutting. Acting or not, this is the whole idea. The other evening, I got on the freeway, I was going home, and I think I mentioned this in one of my videos. I see a white car on the side of the road, on the shoulder. The back bumper sitting on the ground, the back end is smashed. I see the silhouette of a man standing there with a cell phone. I'm like, somebody hit him and left. I couldn't stop. There's too much traffic. I didn't notice who the man was. Then my friend comes up to me and says, yeah, so-and-so had an accident the other day, and that's why he's not here. I said, oh, that's a bummer. I saw him yesterday evening, and I said, hey, called out his name. I said, you all right? Yeah, my car's totaled. And I'm like, wait a minute, he has a white car. I said, were you the one on I-25 in the interchange to get on 6th? He says, yeah. I said, oh, dude, I didn't know that was you. I came around that curve, saw you, heavy traffic. I thought somebody hit that car, and I saw you, but I didn't see your face. It was dark. I said, did you see me? I hope you didn't think I was snubbing you, because my red truck is, in this world of people caught up in new, my truck stands out. It's 18 years old, and it's that wine red color that you just don't see those trucks around anymore much. The trucks are around, but they're all beat up and in tough shape. And I felt bad. He said somebody hit him. He got the license plate, but the guy took off. Called the police. Police said that plate doesn't match the description of the vehicle. So either the vehicle's stolen or the plate's stolen or both. Another injustice in Denver, Colorado. Home of the idiots. Home of the people that just hit people, wreck their lives, kill people, run over a woman with her 2 little children from another country, kills them and leaves. And that same idiot gets up and goes and eats his food and turns on his TV and could care less of what he did. People who run people over and leave the scene, the only thing I can pray for is that if they don't get saved, that the same thing happens to them. I have no use for people like that without a conscience. And our nation is increasingly becoming full of that. And why is that? Because of movies, media, television, and materialism. Because of Beyonce's song, Drunk All Night. And this is how music is powerful. We like the tune and we like the sound. And as Americans, we have been quite stupid, and we've been pipered by music and our media culture to just shut down our conscience. Music is powerful, so much so that it affects Pacific. What I'm going to try to do is see if anybody comes out with just the instrumental version of that, because I like the music. Jimi Hendrix made a statement. And I'm not going to be able to quote it in its entirety because I haven't read it recently, but in music we can say anything we want. How many teenagers listen to and analyze and take apart and unpack the lyrics of a given song? They don't. They're just singing it. And I remember in the 80s when Christians woke up to the fact that a lot of rock music was not good or godly. They started attacking the lyrics, and people say, well, I like it because of the music. Yes, but you're hearing all that junk piped in with the music. Beyonce's song is reflective of American culture at large. Women getting drunk, women smoking cigars, women doing man stuff, women acting stupid like men do in a bar, getting laid up in a car. The whole song conjures up the pimpy culture that we live in. And men today, when they go out to date somebody, women are not interested in commitment. Wait a minute, I got to do something because women do this all the time. My friend's saying I sleep on and off. Poor girl, she's had nothing but troubled sleep. I'd better get a hold of her. Viewers, this is not an attack on Beyonce. Beyonce is a product of the environment and culture from whence she's birthed. She's making big money and she's getting drunk all night. We men are falling all over ourselves over a beautiful woman. But do you want to be married and in bed with a woman who reeks of alcohol? Who has no substance and no foundation? You want to try aggressively to pursue some self-righteous saint who thinks they haven't fallen at all and is holding up this little, well, you didn't measure up to my standard and you're, and then if they could just leave it at that, I could live with that, but then tell me how messed up I am and how screwed up I am and mentally insane. I laugh as I travel down the road in my bus, and I think that if I'm insane, how would I do my job every day? I couldn't. When teachers come out, when a principal of a school comes out and says, I like the way you're handling these students, beautiful white women, by the way, and people come out and talk to me, and people that ride my bus on field trips, the high schoolers said, you're pretty cool. I know what they're saying. They got some bitchy, rude driver or some guy that won't even talk to them. I greet my students. I say, hey, how you doing? And I noticed that the first time I greeted those high school students, they were kind of taken aback, like, whoa, this guy's actually nice. I'm the bus driver. It's my job to be nice, but it's also in my heart. No, I'm not mentally insane. I don't need counseling. I need good friends like my YouTube viewers and people that I can talk to and need to put my face in the Word. And God is doing a fine job with Pacific. We got a long way to go. But no counselor's going to solve my problems. Honestly, I think most counselors are charging way too much money and really don't get to the heart of the problem. I think even me without a degree could do a better job at running a counseling business than most of these clowns who went to 4 years and they're charging $230 a session. Are you serious? Counselors work off information that's been given to them. And if a spouse, husband or wife goes in and tells one side of the story, that's the only information the guy has. A counselor can only give out output based on input. And the fact is too many counselors don't have the guts to say, what I want you to do is see if you can bring your ex-partner in here so that I can get a picture of what's really the problem. They're not going to do that. They're in the business to make money. So there's a certain element of, well, I don't want to offend this customer of mine coming in for counseling. I'll tell her, him thinks he or she needs to hear, but not too much. kind of like today's preachers refusing to take on women. I'm wiping my nose on YouTube. I'm sure I'll get comments for that. I think I've caught a cold. I was able to escape it, and it's coming in because now everybody at work is coughing and nose is running. And it's really gross. I just got to say this. Somebody's got a runny nose and you see this big drip hanging off the end of their nose, and you're like, dude, wipe that off. I remember when I was in Duluth, Minnesota, and I came in on a cold winter morning, and there was this crusty, legalistic guy who thought it was even a sin to play cards. He did not embody the love of Jesus at all. His name was Earl. Real name, church in Duluth. He's, I'm sure, dead and gone, so I'm safe in mentioning it. I didn't even know the guy, and I always tried to be polite and cordial. And I remember one day in Sunday school class, he blurted out, one day I opened my drapes in my house, and I looked through the window across the street, and the neighbors were playing cards. I'm sitting there as a 20-something-year-old guy who drives school buses and dealing with humanity and seeing then what I see now, and I'm going, is this guy freaking serious? This created a wrinkle in him? These weren't Christian neighbors, these were just neighbors. And it was enough to undo him at all levels. And I thought, are you serious? He comes walking in a cold, sub-zero winter day with stuff just hanging out of his nose, and I'm like, ah, what a picture. I said, good morning, Earl, how are you? He was not a congenial, kind man. If there's one thing that Jesus Christ, the difference that should be noticeable in our lives, it says he takes our heart of stone and gives us a heart of flesh. Self-righteous women and even self-righteous men, they got a heart of stone. They don't have a heart of flesh. And it's really hard to listen to somebody who says, I don't want to offend you, and I hope you won't take this personally, but Happy New Year. And I go, wow, you did that with the love of Jesus. You wished me a blessing of Happy New Year while you just tore me to shreds. That's great. I don't consider myself to be the equivalent of the Apostle Paul. I don't consider myself to be a prophet. I consider myself Pacific, and some days I just have a hard enough time living up to Pacific. Because if we're all honest, sometimes if we really try to grow close to God, we realize, man, I can't even function the way I want to function today. Sometimes just our own, you get an illness, or you get in a mood and you wake up and it's 25 below and you slept good, but you for some reason wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and you get out and somebody's tailgating you and you go, okay, God, I am not in the functional mode today. I had to momentarily disappear. Why is it that in America, what people are defining as real today is the fat and sassy attitude of females being vulgar? Well, that's just me, and if you don't like, I'm not talking about that kind of genuineness. I'm talking about people doing what I've done. Wine, Women, and Song is a video that continues to shock me. It's over 600 views and still growing. It's like, this is unreal. One woman this morning told me she's watched it 3 times. And I confess, I thought, somebody watched a video of mine 3 times over an hour in length? When I see what's happening with these videos, I realize God has given me a gift. Because I certainly don't have polish or finesse. Anybody sit here in his pajama shirts and his Pippi Longstocking hat, in a storage room, and can get hundreds and hundreds of viewers and thousands of viewers. Godless people don't hang out on my channel much. We've lost a lot of atheist viewers because I had to take a stand, and I didn't intentionally try to drive them off. But some of them were getting too big for their britches and out of hand. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to make my channel an argumentation with me and atheists pitting against each other. That's not what this channel's all about. But I needed to make a bold stand to let my viewers know, atheist and otherwise, that I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. Not because I'm afraid that I might be proven wrong. I cannot be proven wrong on the existence of God by anybody, because God has already shown up at the table a long time ago. Just because Pacific doesn't always dot his I's and cross his T's the way he should as a Christian does not negate the existence of God. It proves, as the Apostle Paul said in the book of Romans, I do the things I do not want to do, and the good I want to do, this I do not end up doing, but the evil is right there beside me. A black friend of mine in Arizona called that the doo-doo chapter, because I do the things I do not want to do. When I want to do good, evil is right there with me. The scholars have debated that and kicked it around like a spiritual football, but the bottom line is Paul's admitting as a Christian that I do struggle. He said the other apostles have a wife, and do I not inwardly burn? You think Paul didn't have a problem with lust? I'll bet you he did. We don't know what Paul's thorn in the flesh was. Some people want to trivialize it and say, well, his eyesight was going bad. I don't know. Nobody knows. So to speculate is to expend mental energy on nothing. Whatever it was a source of aggravation for Paul, but he even submitted to the Father and said, your strength is made perfect in my weakness. That's what Wine, Women, and Song was about. And to have another Christian woman kick that to the curb and use that as the impetus to reject me in the name of Jesus Christ and consider herself more spiritually attuned. Wow. Don't think for 1 minute that people that are talking like that are close to the flame. Yes, we're supposed to live holy and obedient lives. Yes, we're supposed to walk according to God's word. And yes, people have a right to have a standard. I don't feel comfortable dating a guy like that. That is a person's right. And whether I'm offended by that or not is irrelevant. But don't write me and condemn and lambaste and label me and tell me I'm mentally insane. Yada, yada, yada. Wah, wah, wah. Yes, ma'am. My God doesn't say that about me. My Bible doesn't say that about me. My Bible says before I was in Christ, all we like sheep have gone astray. There's no one who seeks God. No, not one. All our righteousness is as filthy rags. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Christ Jesus our Lord. I'm here on YouTube because God has given me the confidence. I'm here on YouTube because God has given me a voice. I'm here on YouTube because God has given me a gift, the ability to speak and communicate and articulate. I'm not going to compete with people about how wonderful of an author or how wonderful they are. I recognize goodness when I see it. I recognize talent when I see it. I recognize some people are way better at things than I am. There's a man in Missouri who's been a virgin for 32 years. He should be listened to more than myself. But God is good. God is using my failures and my faux pas and my follies and my weaknesses to show that He is God. But there's a man in Missouri who has something to say about virginity. And he's going to get from God. Blessed for that. Beyonce, listen to the song, viewers. Read the lyrics, every square inch of them. This is the popular stuff today. This is the stuff that's right out there. This is what the world is clamoring after. American culture. I don't see a quality woman there. I don't see a lady there. I certainly don't see a woman who's aspiring to godliness there. I see a woman who will not admit the fact that she is in darkness. A woman that, even though she makes big money, is in stardom, is addicted to vice and just spinning like a vortex going down the drain. And today's women are emulating that, boasting about it. The station that I heard that song on is 95.7 The Party, FM, Denver, Colorado. You'll probably pull it up online. The music's all about getting high and party, party, party. These are the same people that laugh at us for following Jesus Christ and having conservative values. But all you got to do is look at their addiction device and you go, well, they certainly don't got it together now, do they? The God they deny, they've just substituted another God, and that God is sending them straight to darkness, straight to hell, straight to slavery, straight to chains. Beyonce's not a liberated, enlightened woman at all. She's in bondage to her own chains. And it's sad, and we should pray for those people, not make fun. And they will laugh at us, and they will mock us. But Beyonce hasn't found peace, forgiveness of sins. She hasn't found that eternal life in Christ. The lie of American culture is money, wine, women, and song. Stardom. Sad, isn't it? I think I've said enough. Godly woman is hard to find. A lot of Christian women, but a godly woman, when I define godly, actually, the Bible uses only two terms, the wicked and the righteous, the godly and the ungodly. I'm godly. I don't always walk as that. But today's Christian women are defining godly as somebody who's, you know, I'm gonna give my definition: morally perfect, doesn't sin, doesn't do this, and they'll say, I didn't say that. Well, you're implying it, so I'm gonna go with it. That's not the definition of godly. We are made righteous through the blood of Jesus Christ. What we need to differentiate from is that our position is intact. Our outworking of that salvation. All of us are at different levels. All of us. I'm getting texted to death. This is why I hate texting. Filipina, one right after the other. I'd better deal with this. And for those of you, my viewers, that have my number, I don't always answer texts. Don't take it personally. I can't. You got to do 1, 2, 3 to get the letter C. I think texting is ridiculous. I think Alexander Graham Bell had it wrong. He should have invented texting first. People would have been like, yeah. We have Morse code each other. And then when he came out with the talking phone, everybody would say, oh, I'm so glad that texting is out of here. We went the other way. People would rather. And do you notice that women are using text messaging and emailing as a weapon? They don't want to talk anymore. They don't want to talk. Then they hide it behind all their fears and concerns for safety. And I want to say something about that, because women talk about their safety and then they claim to be so godly. Where's your trust in God? You pick up the phone and block your number, and you can't do that? Where is your trust in God? I don't want a woman who's a scaredy cat. I don't want some manistic feminist. But I want a woman who puts her faith and trust in God. And man, I find as I get older, I have no patience for all these shy, timid, scared women. And yet they get in their car and they act like complete monsters. I go, are they really shy, or is that just a cop-out? I think so. What about Pacific? I went to Hong Kong, chased a woman. Yeah, it blew up in my face. But at least I got on a flight and went over there. But the worst that could happen, I could be stood up and, oh, great. I got a 2-week ticket in Hong Kong and I have nobody to go to. What am I going to do? It's nice when you can put your life in a nice, neatly packaged box, and everything's ordered and prescriptive. I stole that from a lady I dated. I had never heard that term before, and I like that. Too many people are prescriptive, and they like to pat themselves. Well, I used the intellect God, and I made wise choices. And you're still a stuck up stain. You know what? The person who laughs all the time or the person who's serious all the time, they're all going to die. Be yourself, but let Christ change you. Pacific has not denied biblical truth at all, but over the years, my music style changed. My passion came back alive. I'm very happy about that. I'm glad he's opened my eyes when I go out in Lakewood culture on a Saturday and go walk around the lake and go, gosh, these people are dead. Boring. Boring, dowdy clothes. And I sit there and go, God, regardless of what people think about Pacific, I'm still a lightning rod, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not neutral ground anywhere I go. I'm just not. I'm not. This is Pacific. Signing off. Bye bye.